Why do you hear a voice in your head? Well, stay tuned because that's what we're going to figure out. Have you ever noticed that you can hear some talking going on around you? Sometimes it sounds like it's inside your head, but almost it feels like it's kind of hovering around you. You know, you're probably wondering why you hear a voice in your head. You know, listen closely, watch closely. Let's see if we can figure this out. Now, I don't know what you believe. I don't know what your background is, but just for a moment, consider this. Again, I don't know what your background is. What if the voice in your head is actually coming from a good person? I don't know what your background is, if you believe that there's angels and devils, but we're going to talk about that just for a moment. I know, strange topic, but maybe you ought to consider this. What if a voice that's trying to talk to you is this, and you know, the angel devil thing on your shoulder? You've seen cartoons, you've seen people talk about it, you've seen all these things about angels and devils. But what if there's this voice that is trying to get in your head that is a positive message? You know how you're walking down the road and all of a sudden you hear this voice talk to you and it gives you this great idea. And you think about it for a moment, it's like, well, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should do that. But then you think, wait a second, where'd that come from? I believe, and I don't think the angels are really this big. I think they're the same size as us. You know, like they're really like us. They're like really like guardian angels. But I just drew a little one because you know how it goes. But maybe it's telling you something positive. In fact, I think you've had situations in your life where a voice has told you to change or adjust something and it saved you from something. I remember one time I was sitting in my office at home and I was just sitting there working and I literally heard this voice say to me, "Run upstairs. Something bad's going to happen. Hurry, hurry, hurry." And in the moment, it's like, who is this? But I just jump up. I ran upstairs. My kids had the tub filled with water, and they had all these, toys all over in the tub. And when I heard them playing in the tub, and I'm running upstairs, and I hear them, they're in the bathroom. I'm like, man, there's a ton of water in there. And I go to grab the door, and I go to open the door, and the same voice says, "Stop! Wait just a second." And I open the door just a little bit and I see this power cord plugged into the wall going over to the tub. I reached in, grabbed the power cord, and I unplugged it. Just then, a light that my little kids had put on the soap dish handle falls into the water. And I open up the door. My kids get all mad because they think I knocked the light off the handle. And I'm just like shocked what about happened, because if I would not have unplugged that cord, that light would have fell into the water where they had their hands in the water, and that electricity would have went into the water and it would have shocked both of them and would have injured both of them. That little voice that came from somewhere gave me instructions to literally keep my kids from getting hurt. You might be hearing these little voices that are actually telling you good things. Might be trying to help you, might be trying to help you solve problems. Maybe this voice is trying to protect you. So if you're hearing a voice, you may want to check in and notice what kind of advice, what kind of suggestions that voice is giving you, because it could be good. Could be really good. Because along your way, I think you're worthy of having some guardian angels. Don't you think? I know you're probably thinking this is weird, but just consider it for a moment. You could have a guardian angel. Now, as much as you could have a guardian angel, something else you need to think about though is maybe over here you got yourself one of these angels. Those are not antennas. Those are horns. I can't. How do you draw horns? Okay, now they look like bunny ears, but those are horns. And maybe over here, you got this devil who's trying to get some negative in you. Maybe he's telling you bad stuff. We're over here, the angels are telling you good stuff. Because if you got an angel on one shoulder, maybe you got a devil on the other shoulder. I don't know. I don't know you, but if you're hearing a voice, you may want to consider that there could be this little devil angel trying to convince you to do bad things. I remember teaching my kids when they were just little about the difference between angel voices and devil voices. And I was teaching my kids how to notice the difference and how to listen carefully so you can notice the difference, and so you know if you should listen or not listen. And one of my boys, he was downstairs hanging out with his brothers. He all of a sudden comes running upstairs. Dad, 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 Dad. And I'm like, what's up? What's going on? Dad, I heard the voice. I said, what did you hear? Dad, I heard the voice. You taught me to listen for the voice, Dad, and I listened and I heard this voice. I said, what did it say to you? And he says, this little voice was saying, hit your brother. Just hit your brother. Your brother's bad. Just hit your brother. And he says, Dad, I was sitting there listening to the voice and I said, no. And he says, I said it out loud. And he says, the little voice says, why not? Your brother's a jerk. Just hit him. And he says, Dad, I talked to him. I was telling him, no, I'm not going to hit my brother. And then I heard the voice go, all right, that's fine. And the little devil went away and he says, Dad, I wanted to come up and tell you I recognized a devil voice. I know that's not something you want to talk about in public. I heard a devil voice. Now, some people, and please, some people right now are going to go, what's Kirk talking about? Devil voices, angel voices. Yeah, let's grow up here. Let's be adults about this. I know I'm drawing these little pictures, but, there's reasons why people do bad things. And there's reasons why people do good things. And I really believe that there is an angel voice that's trying to talk to you, and there is a devil voice trying to talk to you. Now, in the middle of who you are, you have your own voice. You have your own voice inside your head. Now, once the angel voice gets in to your head, it actually can sound just like your own voice. If you're not noticing the difference, you're going to think it's the same voice. Same thing with the devil's voice. If you're not looking for what does the devil's voice sound like so you can avoid it, if you're not looking for that, the devil's going to say things to you and you're going to think it's your voice. And you're going to be confused about what this is and what this is because you can't tell the difference. And so let's stop and consider something right now. There's you, this voice, and this voice. Around the outside of your head, there's two voices. Inside your head, there's one voice. But once they get in, how do you know which one's which? How do you sort that out? How do you figure out which one to listen to? Can you tell the difference between the two? Now, I got to warn you about something. The devil has changed his game. Instead of him being 100% negative when he goes to say things to people, he now has changed it to be 99% truth and 1% lie. He is tricky. So this is going to feel like a little tiny bit positive. It's going to feel positive. But you're going, wait a second. There's something part of this that's kind of negative. It's not good, but boy, there's a bunch of positive around it. But even though you put a bunch of positive around it, inside of it, it's still going to hurt. It's kind of like making a poop cake. No, that sounds weird. But maybe it's kind of like making a dog poop cake and putting the best frosting over it. And you got 4 inches of frosting. and then you give it to your friend, right? Now, okay, forget the dog poop thing. I did see someone do this though. They took everything out of their vacuum cleaner, all that stuff out of their vacuum cleaner. They put a little bit of cake batter with it. They made a cake and it had all this hair and stuff poking out of it. And then they just coated this massive coating of frosting around it. And they took it to their friends. And they said, hey, you want some cake? And they tasted the frosting and they were like, this is so good. And so the friends were like, this is so good. Thank you for sharing your cake with me. They got the knife and they started to cut the cake. They pull the cake out and they put it on the plate and they slide it to their friend and they start scooping up the frosting. And then they see these little hair things popping out and this sticks and these things. And they're like, what is this? And they go, oh, it's my vacuum cleaner. It's called vacuum cleaner cake. And their friend's like, no, that's sick. They go, no, you said the frosting was good. No, this is sick. What are you doing to me? It's like, well, you enjoyed the frosting. You were just going to eat through the frosting and not even know you're going into a vacuum cleaner cake. But that example is so true. Before we dive into something, maybe we need to get better at recognizing what's inside of it. What's going on inside there? I believe it's important for you to recognize that there are two different types of voices that are literally battling for the space between your ears. The devil wants to get into your head so that he can cause you to be mean to people, because the devil likes to hurt people. And if he can get into you, get into your head, then he can tell you to do mean things, say mean things, type mean texts, type mean emails, get on social media, be mean, and literally the devil's in your head and he's got you doing mean things. And the devil, when he gets in your head, he's actually going to try to cause you to do mean things to yourself, because he just wants us all dead. That's what he wants. And he wants to hurt us all, and he wants us to be all, because he's just mad. He didn't get his way and he's just mad. And so he tries to get into your head to make you mean. And so the angels, they're also trying to influence you. They're also trying to help teach you about the good things of life and how to be a better person and how to organize your life and how to, be better in your relationships and forgive and build and create a life that you love. That's what they're trying to do. So you got both of them who are trying to influence you. So for you to hear a voice, you're not weird at all if you hear voices. But you may want to think about, who is this voice? Where is it coming from? What's its intention? And for you to be able to get to the place of being able to divide this and being able to notice which ones are the angels and which ones are the devils. Get better at that. If I could give you some really important advice on this day moving forward, you want to pay attention to what's going on around your ears and inside your head so that you can catch the devil before he takes up a residency inside your head, before he decides to build his little house inside your head and start living in your head. Get the devil out of your head. Because once he gets into your head, then he gets into your heart. And that's not cool. Because now you're grumpy, you're miserable, and you're mean to people all the time. So get the devil out by listening to the good. Find ways to figure out what this is, how this is, and listen to the good, because it's going to help you, protect you, guide you, and help you make better decisions to really do better in your life. So if you're hearing a voice inside your head and you're wondering why, you're normal. But take it to the next level and sort and figure out which one's which. And just today, us having this conversation is helping raise your awareness that this is actually going on in your life right now. So maybe make a plan from this point on. I'm going to get the devil out of my head. And if you ever hear your friend or a family member being all mean and nasty to somebody, you just point at them and tell them, You got the devil in your head, my friend. You just tell them they got to get that devil out. They're not listening to the angels. They've been listening to the devil too much. And I think we actually need to talk this way amongst our family members so we're all conscious that the devil's real and not think he's out there trying to hurt us or hurt somebody. Let's be smart people and clean up our head. I can help you be able to sort out the voices in your head. Click the link below, and there's a training program called Master My Thoughts. It will train you on how to sort out which are the devil thoughts and which are the angel thoughts. You can become more skilled at sorting out what's going on in here. And it's time for you to really clean up your head so you can have a better life. Click the link and it's going to be great for you. And also, before you go, click subscribe.